Hi there everybody, welcome to our Yoga for Cyclists and Runners gym routine. I'm going to be working on muscles today that are getting short when we're leaning forward and kind of flexing through the spine and the hips. So we're looking at opening up hip flexors, opening up through the core as well. As always, you just need a mat, nothing else, no fancy equipment. So we'll go straight for it. You're going to come up onto all fours. So this first one's called an extended child's pose. We want the knees to be underneath the hips. We start off with the hands underneath the shoulders. But then what we're going to do is take a really nice big step forwards with the hands, and we lower the head, lower the ribs down towards the floor. So what we're looking to do here is get as much curve through the spine as we can. If your head gets to the floor, that's fine, you can let it rest. Try and keep the arms really long, rather than just kind of letting them collapse. Really reaching those out, and we're trying to almost push the ribs down towards the floor. They don't get there obviously, but it's that movement that you're looking to try and create. Your hips stay high, so you're pointing your tail up towards the ceiling even. And we're just going to breathe deep. With this, all of these exercises actually, you'll find that the longer and the deeper the breath, the more you're going to be able to stretch and lengthen the muscles through the torso, and in some cases into the hips. Not on this one, but in some cases. Okay, so I'm going to bring myself out of that, but as always, you guys can spend as long as you like in these poses. Next one we're going to go for, still creating an arc through the spine that's very similar. You're going to place your right foot between your hands. You're going to keep your left knee on the floor where it was. And we're going to push up, hands onto your front knee there. And you're going to drop the hips, lifting the head and the chest. So we're starting to create a stretch through this left hip into the left side of the tummy. What we'll even do from here now is reach the arms up high and try and arc even further back. So you see there's an arc coming through that spine hopefully. But that arc is being created by dropping the hips forwards rather than leaning back. So if I was to move the hips back, we actually come quite upright. But as you drop the hips forward, we're just keeping the head and the chest where it was and creating the arc that way. Much more controlled way. And it spreads the arc up the spine then rather than compressing it into just one spot. So obviously the deeper you drop, the deeper the stretch is going to be. You might even feel it coming into the quad there as well, but certainly in the hip flexor and up into the lower abdominals there and even to the bottom of the ribs. Okay, so we're going to let those hands come back down. And again, you guys are going to repeat that on the other side. The final move we're going to go through, you're going to lower down onto your tummy, and we're going to bring the hands up roughly by the ears. One either side, elbows are tucked in by your side, and you push yourself up with your arms. So when we're doing this, it's quite a good practice to let the heels just roll out to the side. So if you find that your lower back is pinching when you're doing this, good thing to do is to bring the big toes together, let the heels roll out, and make sure that then you are only using your arms to push yourself up. If the lower back does pinch, then it generally means that you're using your lower back muscles to pull yourself up rather than your arms to push. So another great one, the deeper you breathe, the more the stretch is going to increase in that core, in that trunk. Whilst we're here, just also think about trying to keep a bit of a gap between your shoulders and your ears. It can kind of be tempted just to collapse, but we want to get a real length and extension through there. And the final thing to consider is just making sure that we keep our hips on the floor. So if you want to take this a little bit deeper, a little bit more, more intense version of the same position, we can extend the arms and come up onto your hands. Sometimes when we do that, we can be lifting the hips off the floor. We want to keep the hips on the floor throughout this whole move. Okay. yourself back down. And then when you're ready, you push yourself back up. So we have 3 moves there for you guys, all working on extending through the spine, opening up the trunk, the core a little bit more, the abdomen and the hip flexors, a little bit into the quads as well. So go ahead and work on those this month, and I shall see you next month for 3 more moves. Thanks a lot. Bye bye.